Welcome, I am the teacher. Today I'm going to be speaking on the pattern of two, which is, like I had mentioned previously, that each number has its own pattern. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm also going to talk about us. It's very significant for you to get an understanding of the understanding of us in two, because the number two means us and our connection with God, and why it is really essential that we get the understanding of how to apply mathematics, our original language, into our so-called daily lives. I'm going to talk about the male and the female, and today I'm just dealing with the whole numbers. Basically, if you time each number, and continue this to multiply each whole number, a pattern develops, and that pattern has to do with us, because we're dealing with the whole number. Also, you will see in the pattern that I will point out the number 7, because I have mentioned before when I was speaking that 7 is the universal number, and since we are universal beings, I'm going to show you how the 7 works, and always dealing with that 2. 7 and 2 are always in link together, because we are universal beings, and the one made us of his own image and after his likeness, so therefore we have unlimited potential. For instance, if I ask you to start counting, when are you going to stop? That's the same thing about life. We are life. Technically, when you break it all down, we are just life, and life continues. So I'm gonna show you these. This is what each whole number is. So, for instance, 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 8 is 64. 9 times 9 is 81. 10 times 10 is 100. 11 times 11 is 100. It's 121. 12 times 12 is a 141, and so on and so on. 19 times 19 times 19 is 361, etc., etc. And I got these numbers here down at the bottom, because if you pay attention to the distance between the two, eventually creates a pattern. By just multiplying the whole numbers, it's all we're doing is multiplying the whole numbers. You're going to see how that relates to 2, and the significance why 2 is us, the meaning of us. I'm talking about original thought. You're coming into the understanding of the welcoming of the Son of Man, and he makes all things new. He's coming with the original thought. So those of you who are in the understanding, just flow with it. Just look at the math. The math does not lie. This is what I call supreme mathematics. There is no lie. And knowing how to put the math into your spiritual everyday life. See, spiritual is a word that we can use, that I use, but your everyday life, you are a universal being. Our primary focus should be life. Our primary focus should not be, let me go wash the car. But while you're washing that car, your primary function is the way you think. So we always should be thinking about the one. That is natural. The one to be the only thing that you're thinking about no matter what you're engaging in. Even when you're reading a book or you reading something that is giving you more clarity and bringing you closer to the one. If you're watching a movie, no matter what the movie is, and when you are looking at it, and what is going on, if it's based on a historical event or whatever, how does it relate back to the one? How is this helping you get an understanding of life? That's what our everyday job should be. That's what all of us should be getting paid for. If there is a method of commerce that how we get certain things, it should be based on what we are doing for life, not what we are doing for profit. Some of the things that we desire to be, that we actually doing in our everyday so-called daily lives, in this reality that we have created for ourselves, unfortunately, or that we have been born into, what some call the matrix and so forth. Mathematics is your freedom, your justice, your equality. It has no limitation. Thought has no limitation. And if you and I, if all of us strengthen our thought as far as focusing on life, then you can see the value of the mathematics. Again, every number has his own pattern. If you want to figure out the pattern of 5, start taking the code of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and times 5 times each numbers of that code, because you're dealing with the 1. So the 1 is what you define yourself by. So each pattern, the pattern of 5. So on the board here, I have the pattern of 2, and I have it up here. So basically, y'all know about, this is the pattern. This is a universal pattern. This is one of the 3 patterns of life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All of you are familiar with that. So I'm dealing with 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4, 8. 2 times 5 is 10. You break it down to the single digit, it's 1. 2 times 6 is 12. Break it down to the single digit, 3. 2 times 7 is 14. Break it down to the single digit, it's 5. 2 times 8 is 16. Break it down to the single digit, it's 7. 2 times 9 is 18. Break it down to the single digit, it's 8. These are the patterns of us. Notice it's the even number, and then on the back end, it's the odd number. What people call odd number. 4 evens, 4 odds, and the 1 is in the middle. And you know what the number 5 stands for, right? Justice. So that's the pattern of us. That's our basic pattern. That is, you can call it DNA, you can call it, the universal being, the number of the universal being, etc., etc. The number of the original thought, that was it. Now, I don't know how many parts it's going to be of the pattern of 2 of us. I try not to make a video longer than 30 minutes. Sometime I may go a minute or 2 over. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but there are some things about us that I don't want to leave out. So it might have a part 1, part 2, part 3, etc. There's so much in us. You understand? There are it's so many. Um, we are very complex, so we're dealing with male and female. So we're dealing with the whole numbers. So what I have on the board, like I had mentioned earlier, I'm just taking the whole numbers and times them by themselves to themselves. I did it all the way to the number 36. So if you times 36 times 36 equals 1296. Okay? And that alone is a whole lot of wisdom and knowledge on just that alone. I didn't mean to erase that, but it's a whole lot of wisdom and knowledge in that alone. But it all starts with the one. But like I said, the one, all life, all thoughts start at 0. Period. It's the womb. And once I had said before that 0 and 2 are very significant numbers. Meaning, when you add and multiply 0 and 2, you get the same result. They both give you the exact same result, meaning 0 plus 0 equals 0. 0 times 0 equals 0. 0 makes all things new. The number 2. Us. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 is the only number that does this. That's us. The reason why Satan don't want you to have a knowledge of yourself, okay? And he has the devil running around here doing his work. Satan is a mentality. Satanism, what we call Satan, is the mentality. It's, that hindrance. It can do good. It can do nice things. There's one thing Satan ain't gonna never do. Satan's never gonna tell you the truth. Because he disappears. He's so low of a frequency when you have it. He always has you dealing with things that have already been done. Satan keeps you in the past. He's never dealing with you in the present. He has you focus on past tense, which most of us deal with. 90% of our life is based on past tense. And that's why we're in the world of Satan. We have the mentality of Satan. Because we always fumbling and crying and complaining and having breakdowns by the things that has happened to us previously. It's hard to get a negative thought out of your mind. It's hard to get a bad experience out of your mind. Satan knows this, so that stuff runs deep. A very horrific experience takes massive healing because it's done massive damage. And that's why the wise say, and Jesus was among them, Jesus said, you have to be reborn again in the Holy Spirit for you can have understanding. Because man and God has always been together. Period. You see the 3 patterns of life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Male, female, offspring. Supreme mathematics. Period. That's, you can think that you have free will, but mathematics is the only freedom that you have. because it continues. Just because you think that you are making a decision, that you really thinking that. Now, math, either you do or you don't. You know, there is no wrong in mathematics. So either you do it or you don't. There is no third option. And if you don't do it, all you're doing is limiting yourself. And life, like water, water always seeks its own level. Well, life is going to continue with or without you. If you doubt that, you know, you drive by graveyards often in this world. All of them people used to be a part of this reality. Where are they now? I don't care who or what you think you are. You're going to return to nothing. Yet, your next level, your continuance, you're going to be coming in as new. We're all a unique equation, yet we are all one. You know why? Because there is only one. And the us is a part of that. So let's look at it. Let's look at this 1 times 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. You keep going, you keep going. There is a pattern in this. If you pay attention, to the beginning of it. Now, this is something that you got to think about here. Starts off with 1. But the pattern of 2 starts off with 2. What makes the 1 doesn't make us, because there is none like him. But as I mentioned before on several videos, that we about the duality. We start coming into existence when male and female begins, because it's in the stage of the thought, the workings of building us into existence begins at 11, the duality. 11 is the first number after the first manifest 10. One of these times I'm going to talk about the 3 tens. That's a long lecture as well. But here we got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. If you look on the back end of this, you got 1. When you look at the pattern of us, you got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. When you start dealing with the whole numbers, you start with here. But when you're doing the pattern of 2, it's on the back end of it. The question is, what's on this side of the beginning? When you get to the duality, right? It starts at the number 11 here. So here, the space between 0 and 1 is 1. The space between 1 and 4 is 3. 4 and 9 is 5. 9 and 16 is 7. 16 and 25 is 9. 25 and 36 is 11. 36 and 49 is 13. 49 and 64 is 17. 64 and 81 is 64 and 81 is 17. 81 and 100 is 19. And we know the Son of Man is what? The number for the Son of Man is 19. And 10 times 10 is 100. 100%. I might, one day. But so let me trying not to lose my dog here. I gotta keep myself focused. So it starts off at 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Here, pay attention. Here's 2, 11. When you break down 11, that's 2. When you break down 13, it's 4. You break down 15, 6. You break down 17, it's 8. The 19 is in the middle, because that's 1. Son of Man makes all things what? New. Which, when the Holy Quran speaks, believing in the unseen, is talking about the 0. 1 is what appears out of the 0. What was in the 0 is us, the balance, complete yet incomplete, everlasting life, and the completion of 1. See? You understand? So, once the pattern starts here, the number 2 appears. Here. And it begins, like I once said, at the duality. And if you keep going all the way through here, you're going to see 2, 4, 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. When you're dealing with the whole numbers, it starts off in that type of sequence because it explains there's always something in what we call nothing. When you talk about the 0, there's always something in the 0. It's 360 degrees. There's always something within the 0. Period. 360 degrees is 9. So you have to continue, right? Why is 19 times 19 361? Do you think that's a coincidence? And when you start putting it into spirituality and about us being created in 6 periods and the Son of Man's number being 19, and the very first digit or number after the cycle of life, 360, the totality, when male and female totally are together, what is the next one? That's a 10. 19 times 19. When you look at 361, that equals 10. When you break it down, that's a 1. You see that? Period. That's a 1. Now, there are patterns up there within patterns. You can study it. I'm not going to go over every pattern within a pattern today. In part 2, I may touch on some of the more patterns. But, like I always say, if you put things in a sequence to 4 and a sequence of 6, more will come out. The more you make the patterns, the more when you break it down, don't ever, you can, but you could do a 4, you can do 3 or whatever. But if you want to see a picture, a balance, do 4. Like you see it up here, 4 rows. That's why I put 4 rows on the board. So when you're studying, you can you got this. You can take, you can pull up the video and get that, and then just start. I multiplied it to 36. Just start at 37, 38, and go all the way until make 6. If I was you, I would go all the way to number 9. But some people are lazy and they may not want to do that, but or for whatever reason, I don't mean to call you lazy, but I'm just saying, if you go all the way to 9, well, that's even better, because now you're giving a good, complete picture. You can go to 12, and now you're getting a universal perspective. Now, as I mentioned, within here is also, you got to remember, when you're dealing with us, there are things that's going to come up. I'm going to show you as far as 2 and 7, but like I always say, 1, 4, and 7. When you're dealing with us, it's very significant. It's hard to separate 2 from 4 because if you add it and multiply, the balance is needed. Male and female, the whole numbers. This is what we are seeing. You are seeing the original thought of male and female. Period. The thought process. And you see that each number is done by 2. If you want to know what the next number is, for instance, 56 and 33. 56 plus 33 equals 289. So these numbers gives you the foresight of knowing what the next number is, 63. And all of these is the separation is 2. 21, 23, 25, 27. It's all 2. Us. But we talking about us. We're talking about a whole number. So the whole number process and the pattern of the whole number is this. And the key is that the 1 is the center of female and male. You understand what I'm saying? Female and male. Both. Parallel universe. It's still the 1 is in the center of both. Period. So the pattern of 2 is very, very, very significant because this is what I would say is our DNA. This what brings male and female together. When we join together fully, spiritually, morally, and physically, we are the whole numbers. Every number you see, this proves that is both male and female in the journey. You can't separate us. And you see, to get to the next number, you better deal with 2. 2 gives you the answer, what the next number is. So you had the foresight. So, when you want to bring an offspring into the world, the male and the female should have that discussion. Now we're dealing with true mathematics. So I'm not talking about, what goes on in our so-called daily world and our so-called daily lives, because that's a total waste of time. Sometimes we have children unexpectedly, et cetera, et cetera. We have children by women that we're not even in love with. I'm not talking about the nonsense that is going on now. I'm talking about supreme mathematics and when you are joined together as one. There is no error in mathematics. There is no doubt what is on the board. You can see it. This is nothing that somebody's making up. I'm not putting words to this, okay? I'm not making up words and trying to make words fit. I'm not trying to make up a concept and trying to make it fit. I'm showing you the math and telling you the numbers and how it syncs with your everyday life. Period. You can't deny what you see. You can't deny the math. Anybody can work this. It brings the equality of it. Some people can't purchase a book. This is something that you can get from your original thought. This is something Satan can't even take out of you. This frees your mind. This gives you that ability to think clearly.
and to start making all things new. Period. Take a good look at it. That's how two is always working within the whole number. You can't have a whole number without male and female. And everything begins with the one. And you look at the pattern of two, like I had mentioned. The one is in the center of it all. You know, the concept of a parallel universe. Women and man, male and female, have a different perspective of life. Both 180 degrees of understanding, but they have a different perspective of life. But what I mean by that is that on the board you see what we call even, and then on the board what we call odd. If you understand, you know, the nature of each, sometimes a lot of us doesn't court long enough, go through a courtship with the woman that you are dating, because our life expectancy has been cut very, very short. But a lot of us don't even know how to get an understanding of life until we're in our 70s. In this modern day understanding. Because you have to be getting away what you've been doing in your so-called everyday life or whatever your so-called profession is. And our number one profession, everybody's number one profession, what you do for a living, should be to seek the one. The one should be priority, period. That's how you build a map. If the one is not your priority, then ask yourself, who is or what is your priority? When the one is your priority, life gets very simple. Well, I have gone over, I didn't even go over the 7 in the relation. So I definitely will be a part 2 to this. I will point out the 7. Well, on this one, I think I'm just going to go point out the 7 right quick here, just so you can see it. And there's a lot more into it, but 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 5, 7. Notice when the pattern starts, 7 within the flow of it happens twice within each cycle of the pattern. 16, 25. Okay, let's find the 7 again. It's right before you get to the number 9. You know, and it starts again. So this is gonna be 3, 5. Okay, so right here, 196. 169 and 196. You break them down. That's 7, 7. Let's find it again. I should have circled these, but I didn't. Okay. I'm kind of spaced out right now. Let me say this is. Okay, here it is again. So you got 961, then you got 1024. You break them down, 7, 7. So every time before you get to the 9, or you're going to start all over again, because you notice the 2 starts here. Right before the 2 starts, the pattern starts again. You're getting 2 7s. Universally speaking, because you're talking about 2 forms of life. 7 is a universal number. You're talking about male and female. It's pronounced as when the 1 comes out of the 0, it's pronounced. You're working on bringing in the offspring. You're working on bringing on the understanding of the Son of Man. It's pronounced. so, so once you're gonna start the pattern before you start the pattern all over again, because 65, you break down 65. That's 11. That's 2. And this, 67 is what? Break it down. That's 13. It's 4. 6, 69, and then 8. 71 is 8. There you go. So every time these two numbers, when these are coming up, these two numbers are going to always equal 7 because it's making a statement within there, male and female in the cycle. So, reason why life is about pattern, because you have to have the harmony and that frequency creates that melody. So your heart, that's why they say the pure in heart will actually see God. Because when you have that love and it's pumping and it's flowing, you are creating a melody. And that join between that man and a woman, you are truly making love. So, the teaching of Christ in the Bible is love. He said, there's many things that I can tell you, but you can't bear them now. But when he comes, the Spirit of truth, he will lead you to all truth. The only language that's going to lead you to all truth is mathematics. And the 5%, people who have the understanding of the knowledge of God, when you start getting them brothers and sisters into the supreme mathematics and everything we do, like I say, when you're dealing with math, you always can be nearly correct because it's going to continue to flow. There is no end to what you see. So you got to continue to work the math. We can't never be satisfied and say, oh, I know everything. You become static. So we all the way up to this number here. I know it's going to continue because the math done already proved it, but I have to continue to always be true. Period. Life continues through the mathematics, so we always true. That what makes it true. But when we having a discussion, we nearly correct. Because our conversation, our dialogue is going to end. Other people who may hear what we say can look at and listen to our discussion, look at what we have experienced, and you'd be amazed what they can discover from the conversation that people have. So we inspire each other to continue to grow. Because we want for ourselves, we want for our brothers what we want for ourselves, and vice versa. So that I went over. I apologize. So thank you for listening, and I'll come up with a part 2.